We evaluated college budgets yesterday in the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee. It's one of the biggest budgets we consider in there. It's the fourth largest budget that we'll consider all session long. It's $632 million. There's a lot of strategy involved in motion making and whatnot, but Representative Giddings got the big motion out there that was to cut $20 million from a $632 million budget, because that is what is funding either directly or indirectly social justice programming and critical race theory in our universities. Now, before you applaud too much, it would have been nice to have a vote on that motion. However, two substitute motions were made before we could even get to that vote. And the substitute motion that ended up getting voted on and indeed passed was one that cut a mere $400,000 from Boise State University's budget and gave it to Lewis and Clark State University's budget, as if there was not a problem going on at all of our universities. So let me detail just a few of the things going on so that we can see what we need to do to get higher education back in Idaho. Social justice programming is where it teaches about having an aggrieved minority and an oppressive majority, and that race matters. That's what's going on with social justice programming and critical race theory. I know Martin Luther King said that we should be judged by the content of our character, not by the color of our skin. Social justice programming goes exactly against that. When you say Black Lives Matter, you're saying that race matters. If you say all lives matter, for some reason that's offensive to the social justice warriors out there. Okay. And so it is part of their programming. At Boise State University, there's a University Foundations 200 course where students are directed to write essays about how their white privilege has benefited them or affected them in some way. There's centers for diversity and inclusion on our university campuses, centers for LGBTQ studies, but no heterosexual centers, no centers for white males, no centers for. There's a black graduation ceremony at Boise State University. There's not a white graduation ceremony. I have an email from a professor at BSU that is basically training his students how to be good BLM protesters, giving them tips about what to wear, what to say to officers, how to do it, and praising them for their activism in the cause. There's a cancel culture going on at our universities. A coffee company was basically canceled off of campus, or urged or forced off of campus, because they had the nerve to display a flag in support of the police. The Boise Police Department, in a bit of regressive bargaining, has, instead of just finishing out their contract as it says, they're now forced into the last 1 or 2 years of their contract to engage in implicit bias training. There's teaching and learning center at another university, Lewis and Clark State College, that teaches teachers how to incorporate social justice and critical race theory into their courses. All of this, I think, is wrong. We should teach about those things. We should not activate for those things. And that's what's going on at university campuses. Our Constitution, our state Constitution, has a part in it that says, nor shall any distinction or classification of pupils be made on account of race or color. That's in our Constitution. It is not part of our education system to make these distinctions, to make people feel different about their race, or to activate based on racism. We've identified, like I said, $20 million direct and indirect funding going towards these things. $2.5 million directly funding social justice programming and critical race theory on campuses. We need to cut their budgets, not just to send a message, but to defund it and improve higher education, get it back to what it was intended to be, their higher mission of educating students for life, for prosperous careers and successful family life. We need to restore excellent education. Not only is it unconstitutional what they're doing, it's wrong. I want to point out that Representative Giddings also has an important bill in regard to this. It's House Bill 153, and it would allow us to consider university budgets separately so that we can hold BSU more accountable for its offenses in this area than the other universities who are doing it to a lesser extent. They all need to be held accountable, but it would be a better process if we could address each of them individually. It will be on the calendar tomorrow in the JFAC committee at 8 a.m. And if it would be great if you could contact the members of the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee, including the chairman, and let them know that this bill needs to go out of committee, across the House floor, and throughout the entire legislature so that it becomes law. Thank you.